Hello everyone, today we are going to be talking more about the solar eclipse that is happening in between Aries, the last degrees of Aries, and the beginning degrees of Taurus. Why is this solar eclipse strong? Why is this solar eclipse coming in with a lot of energy and momentum? It's because it is hosted by a lot of different planets. We always have to look at the planets that are around the astrological events that are happening. So with this solar eclipse, number one thing we know is it's happening at 29 degrees of Aries. Every time an astronomical event is happening at the last degree of a sign, it gives it more of a push, once again, more energy and momentum. With this, we also have Mars. We already talked about Mars in Cancer. Mars is not a happy planet in Cancer. Cancer and Mars, they're not great with each other. Cancer is the sign of the moon. With Mars being in the sign of the moon, it gets a little bit agitated. So Mars's energy right now is mad, aggression, arguments, problems. People are just not feeling themselves. So we have a solar eclipse in Aries, a fire sign, hosted by Mars, which is in Cancer. Then we have Pluto in Aquarius, and Pluto is still around like 0 to 1 degrees into Aquarius. It is going to be moving out of there soon, but we have Pluto in Aquarius, and then we have Saturn that is in Pisces. Another thing why this is such a crazy, energetic, strong solar eclipse is because A, it's a hybrid eclipse, and because right after we have Mercury going into retrograde, which once again in Taurus, and we have the new moon just 4 hours after the actual solar eclipse, and we have a square happening. The sun is going to be squaring Pluto as soon as the solar eclipse ends. So it's literally one thing after the other, one thing after the other. It's a lot of astrological events and a lot of energies compacted within a week, within a couple days. Now, because the solar eclipse is hosted by Mars, we may think about past traumas. There may be some problems with a mother. There may be some problems within a house, family problems, something to do within a family, with relatives, with how we were raised, with the things that happened to us when we were a child. It brings back all those things. So like we said, past trauma, childhood trauma, how we were raised, something to do with a mother, a parent, children, family problems, maybe breaking off a family, big problems happening within a family. You may hear more about ethnic and racial problems, ethnic and racial tensions, things like that as well. We are going to be dealing with a lot of emotions. There may be times where we're going to be dealing with a lot of anger and emotions. Now with this, we have right after, we are going to have Sun that is going to be squaring Pluto. The Sun is going to be moving into Taurus. When it moves into Taurus, it's going to be squaring Pluto that is in Aquarius. As soon as the Sun squares Pluto, right after the solar eclipse, this tells us that we have that strong Pluto energy of death and rebirth. This is not always a negative thing. This is not always something we should be scared of. This is just something that is transforming. It's a big transformation. It's a big shift of energy. It's a big shift. The solar eclipse is going to be a big shift in our lives, even down the road, 3 months down the line. Something to do with families, personal things, families, childhood trauma, the way you were raised, the way your upbringing was, what you believe and what you were taught to believe. Something to do, Cancer in Mars is a very angry mother that wants to just speak out and protect its children. So it's just going to be that very angry energy. And then we have Pluto. We have the Sun squaring Pluto. Pluto's in Aquarius. You guys see what's happening around the world. A lot of things is happening around the world right now. So we may notice more people coming out, more people talking, more protests, more strikes, more people asking for the freedom that they have always wanted and they never got. Something to do with politics. Economical changes. We are going to be seeing big economical changes, big changes in the stock market. We are going to be seeing a lot of different changes in big corporations, big companies, restaurants, hotels, things like that. You know, it's just a very charged up eclipse. It's an eclipse that is hosted by Mars that is in Cancer, and it is an eclipse that is brought to you by Mercury that is super, super close to Uranus. Mercury is going to be going into retrograde almost at a conjunction with Uranus. So with all that being said, this is going to be a big shift, a big change in mentalities, freedom. There's going to be a lot of breakthroughs with the solar eclipse. And it's not only during the solar eclipse. We are going to feel the energy of the solar eclipse 3 months down the line. We are at the eclipse season. This eclipse season is going to be a big shift and a big, big breakthrough in our lives. Worldwide, personal, political, everything is going through a big, big shift right now. This week is a huge week for astrology. There's a lot of things happening. Mercury going into retrograde. We have the square, we have the new moon, we have the solar eclipse. There's a lot of things going on. And once again, the solar eclipse is happening at 29 degrees of Aries. This is where things fall apart. The last degree is when things fall apart. The last degree is when things get put into our face and is telling us, this is what we need. This is what needs to happen. This is what needs to change. This is a transformation that you guys are going to be going through. This is a rebirth. Is it a rebirth worldwide? Is it a rebirth currency-wise? Is it a rebirth politically-wise? Is it a rebirth within your family? A rebirth within yourself? A rebirth with nature? This has a lot to do with nature too, because there's a lot of that Taurus energy coming into it as well. So this can bring on a lot of different natural disasters, tsunamis, earthquakes, hurricanes, whatever it is. Fires. There's so much things that is happening, and if you connect all of them together, this is why I keep saying this solar eclipse is not like any other. This is why I keep saying this is a very, very charged up solar eclipse. It is hosted by a planet that is not happy where it is. There's a square right after it. The sun is moving into Taurus right after it. New moon 4 hours prior. Mercury going into retrograde, almost conjuncting Uranus. It's a lot going on. This Aries eclipse, once again, with it being at the last degree, is going to say, okay, you know what? From now on, we are doing this. From now on, we are talking like this. From now on, this is how the world is going to go. It's a lot of different meanings. I can sit here and talk about the solar eclipse for hours and hours and days, and I can bring up so many different things that may or can happen with the solar eclipse. It's just a very strong solar eclipse. It's a solar eclipse on steroids, and it has a lot of things happening around it. And then just to top it off, Jupiter is combust. So we can't even rely on Jupiter to pull out some of that energy that will kind of help us. No, it's not all going to be negative. A solar eclipse is actually good for us. It comes into our lives when we need it the most. It makes us stop certain things. It makes us get rid of certain people in our lives. Once again, it makes us get rid of certain habits. Things will shift. Something will come up in a family. This is all about family. This is all about health. This is all about economical changes, presidential changes, strikes, protests, all these planets coming together for one specific thing. A lot of these planets are now moving into Taurus. So we got to watch out for natural disasters. We got to watch out for something to do with health. We got to watch out for political changes, presidential changes, things like that. I try to be as clear and as specific as I can, and I really, really hope this made a lot of sense for you guys, and I hope you guys enjoyed this. Once again, I can talk hours about it, but we are just going to stop here, and maybe we will talk more as things come up, or if I notice certain things on the chart that's like, whoa, we need to talk about this, and I'll just relate it back to this solar eclipse. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and share, and don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel to learn and hear more about astrology.